Good afternoon. I am Kimberly Berry, the Deputy Director of the Michigan Unemployment Insurance Agency. I wanted to take some time to go over a few questions that we've received and to make sure that we're addressing those claimants who have reached out to us. So we've received additional questions from the last time we were on our Facebook Live and our other social media platforms. So I just want to give you an opportunity to hear some of our responses to your questions. They are frequently asked questions, so I'm sure some other people may have additional questions as well. So let me get started. One of the first questions we have is, I am advised to certify for weeks April 20th through 25th, but no weeks show up under the Certify tab. What do I do? So the first thing that you could do is to look at your account and make sure there are no other issues that's out there. So for instance, if you have a non-monetary issue, that may be the reason why you can't see the weeks. So we have staff that we are dedicating specifically to those issues to make sure that we can get those addressed, and then your week should appear. The next question we have is, I applied to get PUA monetary assistance. The system is requiring me to enter a 1099 income verification to certify my claim. I'm not self-employed and I do not have a 1099. My certification is this week by April 25th. What do I do? So one of the things that you can do is you can upload any income verification that you have at all. So it doesn't have to be your 1099. It could be a Schedule C, it could be a W-9, it could be anything that proves to us what your income was for 2019. If you have not filed your income taxes for 2020, then you can use your 2019 income tax forms. Make sure you upload those documents so that we can assure you get the most benefits. So you don't want to get the minimum. If you have additional income, please upload as much information that you have as far as the wages you've made in the last several years, and that will allow us to be able to get the maximum benefits on top of the $600. If not, it will give you the minimum, which is $160 plus the $600. Okay. The next question is, I was finally able to certify on phone with Marvin for the last 4 weeks, and I was given a dollar amount. I do not have a bank account. How will I receive my money? Will I receive a debit card? Yes. For every person that applies for unemployment, our default method is to a debit card. So the debit card should be forthcoming in the mail. Once you receive that debit card, the instructions will be contained there within for you to know how to get that debit card activated. If you want to change your banking method, you can go into your MyWim account and look under I want to, and then update your banking information to make it a direct deposit should you choose to. But as soon as you get that information for your debit card, your money will be there. If by chance there is no payment status, what you will see on your account would be a reversed charge, which means that you have not activated the debit card, so the money was returned back to the agency. The second you update your banking information, we will release that money back to you. So make sure your banking information is always updated to your preferred method to receive your payments. The next question is, after we file an additional claim required, how long does it take to fix the problem and release payment for previous weeks certified? So filing an additional claim is extremely similar to filing your initial claim. So once the claim is filed, it should take approximately 7 to 17 days for it to actually go through and your payments to be released. So once you file that claim, you'll receive a monetary determination for your new claim, which tells you you are approved for this amount and for how many weeks. And then from there, it'll also indicate when you're supposed to certify. And so once you certify, probably 7 to 10 days after that, you will receive a payment. So you're looking at about a good 17 to 20 days before you actually receive a payment or information about your additional claim that you just filed. Okay. The next question is, I received a letter that says I qualify for PUA or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance at $160, backdated to March 29th. When I certified for week ending April 4th and week ending April 11th, it shows $160 and $600 for both weeks. However, both are showing a disqualification week. Why is that happening, and when should I be receiving payment for these weeks? So again, this is kind of similar to the question that was asked a little earlier, and that you need to make sure there is nothing whatsoever open or held up, or some questions that we're looking for from you. So that just simply means that it's a possibility that we're asking additional questions from you to get additional information from you. So we can't release the payment until we've gotten that information from you. The information that we're looking for can be uploaded to your MyWim account. It doesn't have to be faxed or mailed in, but should you choose those methods, that's totally fine. But the fastest way to get it processed and to us is if you can upload it to your account. So upload it to your information that we're seeking to your account, and then those weeks will be released. Okay, let me see, the next question is, I heard that open non-monetary issues are getting resolved automatically. How long will I have to wait for it to be resolved? So that is not 100% true. We are resolving some of them instantaneously. Others may require additional information from the employer or from the claimant. So one of the things that we've made sure we're working on is to reach out specifically to that claimant via phone or to the employer via phone to make sure we're able to get the necessary information to close out that non-monetary issue. So therefore, if you receive a call from us, make sure you answer so we can get those last few items resolved. We'll then reach out to the employer via telephone and by mail to try and reach them as well to get the information, and then we'll issue what's called a determination, and that just tells you what the outcome of whatever that non-monetary issue was. So for instance, if you separated from an employer and you said you quit, but the employer said they were fired, and that's in the instance of people that were before COVID. So I'm not sure if this question was before the pandemic or after, but we have some cases that were before, so I wanted to speak to those as well. So some of those non-monetary issues are being held until we can get information from the employer. Once we receive that information, we'll issue a determination, which tells you what our decision was based on the fact finding that we investigated. So that should be approximately a few weeks from now. We do have a dedicated team working on those to make sure those people who have claims that are held for non-monetary reasons, we can do the investigations on them to make sure those payments are released very soon. So the next question I have is, why is it taking so long to respond to our web notices? And do you have a plan to respond to these? So the reason it's taking so long is you have to remember there are multiple ways to reach the unemployment insurance agency. You can do it by phone, you can do it online, or you can go into your MyWim account and send us a web notice. Oftentimes when people reach out, we have staff in all venues and all avenues to assist you. So for instance, if a claimant calls while sending a web notice, while online trying to chat with us, that's one person trying to reach us 3 different ways. So our volume in all areas have exponentially gone up. So one of the things we're doing is making sure the team focuses on, we have a set amount of team that's set focused on answering the calls, a set amount of team that's focusing on getting those non-monetary issues handled, a certain amount of team that's working on getting those web notices answered. We're continuing to staff up to make sure that we can meet the demands of the public and to make sure every Michigander that's entitled to benefits receive those benefits. So it's just taking us a little time because it's a lot more claimants, and we're trying to get staffed up to be able to accommodate those claimants as well. So we're continuing to work on that plan. What is the best way for an employer to reach the agency for assistance? Account has been locked out for several days and messages sent. One of the best ways to reach the employer is through the employer ombudsman office. And unfortunately, I do know that number was also something that the claimants are able to call as well. The only thing I can encourage the employer to do is to keep calling. We will get to your call as soon as possible. And we do have staff working those web notices too. So if by chance you emailed when you log into your account and it pops up and says that you're locked out, there's a click here button. Once you click that click here button, it goes to a different email address. We do have a special team that we've employed to make sure we manage that account as well. So we have additional staff that's making sure we get the lockouts processed as soon as possible. So just hang in there a little bit longer for us. And we'll try and get to those as soon as possible, because we are definitely working on those, because we have a lot of people who keep getting themselves locked up their account for some reason or another. So we do have a team dedicated to that. So just hang in there for a little bit. But keep trying your ombudsman office, because they are answering. We have added additional staff to that line as well, because we know some claimants are able to get through that line. So that's why we've staffed up in there that way as well. Next question is, why was I eligible and received a letter that saying that, but now I certify my WIM and I have ineligible weeks? What happened? So in that particular instance, you may have been initially eligible for benefits. However, perhaps your employer may have protested and said that they disagree with the reason why you were separated. And in that instance, the agency has to review your information and ask additional questions from what you initially submitted. So they will be in contact with you to make sure they have your side of what happened, get another information from the employer should they need it, and then another determination would be issued, or a redetermination would be issued, and it will tell you whether or not you still qualify for those benefits and are eligible for those benefits. Another instance of where that may happen is if you were initially qualified for one program, but you may get additional funds from a different program. So it may have switched you over to a different program. So look into your system and make sure you don't have any non-monetary issues open. Make sure there's no other questions that we're looking for from you. And then that probably can get your issue resolved a lot sooner. Okay. The next question is, my W-2 income was not included in my income determination, only my 1099. Is there a way to submit that information for a redetermination? I don't have a submit additional information link. And if so, should I hold off certifying weeks until that is resolved? So the first portion of that question is there a way to submit that information for a redetermination? There is. So if you cannot find the submit additional information button, go to I want to, and when you go to submit a message to unemployment, upload it there, and then once we receive your web notice, it will be attached to there. If that doesn't work for you, then you may want to go ahead and mail it in or fax it in. I would suggest that you fax it in instead. So that's the other way you can get it to us as well. The second part of that question was, I don't have a submit additional information. And if so, should I hold off certifying? No, do not hold off certifying, because what'll happen is we'll pay you for the weeks that you've already have there. And then once the adjustment is made, we'll reissue that payment if need be, paying the difference. So yes, go ahead and certify. And then once the account is updated, we will send you the additional funds if you're approved for them. The next question is, when I certified for all my claims were approved and payment pending, but 1 week was rejected, how do I dispute that week? If you go into your account and look under I want to, you'll be able to protest and ask for the agency to relook at that particular week and explain why that week should have been approved. So in your MyWIM account, you can go to I want to, and you can protest there and ask for that week to be approved. And if not, then I would suggest sending a web notice to the agency for us and explain to them why you feel like that you're entitled to that 1 week that was rejected. Okay. The next question is, an additional claim is required. File additional claim, but employer EIN isn't recognized this time. How does that get fixed? So the best way to fix that is to send us a web notice and ask for us to add it on our side. It should not prevent you from going ahead and filing your claim. So continue to file your claim, and then we'll match up the EIN from your original claim. If you get stopped or you can't go any further, then that's when I would send a web notice and ask for someone to give you a call and explain this issue for them. And we should be able to fix it on our side. What should I do if my account says the payment is being reversed? This is kind of like the one I was explaining earlier, how if your banking information is not correct, we will receive the payment back to Unemployment Insurance Agency. So what you should do is you should go into your account, make sure your banking information is correct, Check that routing number and make sure you check the account number to make sure it's right. If the payment is reversed, it simply means that we do not have an active Bank of America card or your debit card, or we don't have an active banking account for you, maybe an old account or something of that nature. So make sure you update constantly your phone number and your address as much as you need to make sure it's the most accurate and up-to-date information for us to reach you and to deposit your funds. Next question is, I just certified for my 4 weeks of PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. How long before my debit card arrives? Your debit card probably will take a good 4 to 6 weeks, only because we have over 1.5 million people that have filed claims since March 15th. So because that number is steadily increasing, and that increase is because of some of the figures we know from this week as well. So because that number is increased, I want to give it a couple more weeks before you panic. So don't reach out just yet. Hold on, give it an additional 2 weeks to see if that debit card arrives. If by chance within the next week or two it does not arrive, send us a web notice and maybe we can get you a number to reach the Bank of America so you can call and see what's going on with your debit card. Another option for you would be if you have a bank account, then you could go in there and update your information and enter your bank account information for us to automatically deposit it into your account. So that's another option for you if you can't wait the additional 2 to 6 weeks. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay. The next question is, people who have filed for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and have an old claim in their MyWim account are having issues. When they certify weeks, they come up as disqualified. How do I fix this? So one of the things we want you to be mindful of is you cannot get payment or receive benefits on a denied claim. So do not file for those weeks. You want to make sure your weeks you are claiming and certifying for are for your PUA application. I'll repeat that. So right now we have some claimants who have certified on their denied weeks. Don't certify your denied weeks. There are additional weeks that are in there that are actually approved for the PUA. So you want to make sure you're certifying the correct weeks. The denied weeks or disqualified weeks you should not be certifying for. Certify for the ones that are there for your PUA. And make sure you pick the right claim because there's 2 separate lines for your claim. Make sure you pick the right claim and then you can certify those weeks. Typically, they're the exact same week, so you're not missing anything. And if you have a question and it's not the same weeks, you can send a web notice, but they have been the same weeks. I did verify that just before I got on. The next question is, yesterday I was prompted to certify for previous weeks. I did that, but the status of those is now showing disqualification weeks. What does that mean and how can it be resolved? This is a lot like the last question. Make sure, it sounds as if you were denied on the claim that you certified your weeks for. So look at your very next line and see if for that pandemic unemployment assistance, there are the same weeks there. And if so, certify the weeks of the active claim. One of the things that'll be different is the active claim is usually blue. The expired claim or the claim that was disqualified is usually grayed out for you. So look at the line below it and make sure you're not certifying on a denied claim, and then your weeks should be paid out. Question is, I've been denied pandemic unemployment assistance due to having an active claim, but the active claim was denied because I did not make enough money since the employer paid exempt wages. What do I do? So if you go to the button that says I want to, you can actually protest the denial. So if you go to the one, make sure it's the right one though, because you want to protest your PUA. If your claim is not, you didn't make enough money, that's your PUA, you want to make sure you protest. And then what will happen is we'll take a look at that claim again and we'll issue what's called a determination, which explains to you based upon the information we received from you, based upon the information we received from the employer, this is what the new decision is. Know that the employer or you will have a chance to protest that if you need to, or if the employer needs to or wants to, and then you'll get what's called a redetermination. But let's take it one step at a time. And so right now you should go into the system and just protest your PUA claim and explain why you feel like you should not be denied. Is the web mail checked regularly? Absolutely. Every day we're looking at we're answering phones every day. We're checking web notices every day. We're looking at locked out accounts every day. So as I indicated earlier, we're working on employer accounts every day. So as I indicated earlier, we have different facets of the agency that are still maintaining those particular jobs every single solitary day. Our phone lines, our web notices, our lockouts, our employer accounts. So we have staff in all of those areas, making sure we're trying to reach every single person that's reaching out to us. Again, we continue to staff up. We continue to try and make sure we can meet the demand of the public and those who are trying to seek and get questions answered from us. So staffing is looked at extremely often to make sure we can try and meet those needs. So yes, web notices are being checked regularly. What does disqualification weeks mean and how do I correct this? So for the most part, a disqualification week means that for some odd reason, the information you provided does not match up with maybe what the employer provided, or the information you provided, you may have answered one of the questions wrong, which disqualified you for that week. What you can do is, again, through your web notice, or you can do a protest of that week and ask that week be relooked at if you can provide additional information. So it may mean that when you said you were looking for work, you checked no when you should have checked yes. That may disqualify you. So it may depend on the answers that you provided that may have had you disqualified. But if you ask for us to take another look at it, and someone can reach out to you and let you know which answer you answered that got it disqualified. So I would send a web notice and make sure you include in there the week that was disqualified and what you want to do to correct that. And we'll make sure we reach back out to you and help you with that issue. So the next question is, I am unable to log into my account and I do not have a way of changing the phone number to send the authentication code to the correct number. What should I do? When you log into your account, there is a window that comes up that says, click here. If you're having issues with logging into your account, click here. Click on the here button and it will send us an email for us to get in contact with you to make sure we make those changes to your account. Again, I understand that people have reached out. We have added a new team to there within the last few weeks to make sure we're reaching everybody that has lockout issues, because that seems to be one of our greatest concerns right now is the very same thing, that people don't have the correct number on their account any longer. So somebody will reach out to you. Just make sure you send us the email through the web. Once you open up your web and it says click here, click there, and the email will come straight to the agency. Okay. We're almost out of time. I got a couple minutes for a couple more questions. What if a self-employed insurance broker still is able to work and has some income coming in from existing business? How does that individual certify each week? That is an extremely important question, because you want to make sure you don't do what's called an overpayment, or some people say commit fraud. So an overpayment means that, so when you file your claim and you're certifying, it asks you if you've had any income. So you want to make sure you report your gross income that you've received, and it will give you the difference between what you would have gotten from unemployment and then the $600. I want to make sure you understand that it's your gross though and not your net, so that you can make sure you have all the information, relevant information there, report your gross, and then it'll give you the difference plus the $600, and then you should be okay. But to certify, each time you have income, you have to report that. Just make sure you do, because we don't have to come back to you. But okay. The next question is certification dates provided in my MyWim account 4/27 through 5/2. And on my MyDebt, the letter says 5/3 through 5/9. They're different. When am I to certify? So the monetary determination, at the bottom of it, it tells you the date you're supposed to certify. If you look into the system and the certification date is there, you can certify for those weeks. The MyDebt probably has the next week. They may have crossed in the mail, so you just want to make sure if the weeks are there, you can certify for them. So I will go according to the certification dates that are on your actual account. Okay. How long after submitting income verification do you find out if you're approved for more than $160? So continue to call Marvin or go online and certify every 2 weeks until that determination is received. Again, if by chance you've submitted additional information, we will update your account and send you the difference if it goes back to the beginning of your claim. But one of the things I want to encourage people, especially if you have not filed your PUA, your Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, make sure you take the time to upload your income verification at that time. Oftentimes, I know it's a lot faster to get it through without uploading the information, or you think it may go faster if you don't upload the information. But this is exactly what happens in that we get the minimum amount to you because we don't have anything else to go by. But with the income verification at the onset, we can make sure you get the maximum amount of benefits that you're entitled to. So I'll say that again. Please make sure, please take the time to upload your income verification. This way we can get you the maximum amount at the onset without having to go back and update your information. So it probably will take you a few weeks to get that information updated, but continue to certify. And then we'll make sure that once it is updated, we can go ahead and add it to your account, the new amount to your account. I am so sorry, that is all the time we have for questions. I want to thank you so very much for being attentive. I want to thank you so much for your patience. If we did not get to your question, please be sure to check our Facebook account for upcoming live events that will happen soon. We may get you some more questions. We may get some more questions and get another updated live Facebook event or something like that out there soon. Thank you so very much for all you have done. If you have any questions, thank you so much for all you've done and being patient. If you have any questions, please visit our website at www.Michigan.gov/UIA. Also know that we have updated FAQs, which are questions and answers, fact sheets for you. We also have updated videos and other resources for you that may answer some of your questions. As we get the questions, we're going to continue to update those frequently asked questions so that you can make sure you have a good place to go and get that information directly from the agency. We are committed to making sure every single person is eligible and qualified for benefits will receive those benefits. Staff are working as diligently as we can to make sure we're getting to every single person's questions, be it a lockout, be it a person who doesn't know what to do next. We want to make sure we reach out to everybody, and the staff is working very hard to get you those answers. So thank you so much for hanging in there with us, and stay tuned for our next Facebook Live upcoming event. Have a good evening.